Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to OET Medical Online. This is part of our grammar series in our video collection. And in today's lesson, we're going to look at the use of articles. We're going to run through the basic overall meaning of them, citing examples, and just get you more familiar with them and give you a few tips about how to use them. So let us begin. So article use. In this video, we're going to look at article use in the exam in general. In many languages, especially Asian languages, articles do not exist. So for some people, it's difficult to get used to them. Not everyone, but there are certain languages, Japanese, Chinese, for example, who do not have them, and other languages. So you need to get a handle on them, because if you don't use them correctly, they're kind of seen as basic errors. So you need to try to avoid them. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with this word, there are two types, definite and indefinite. The three words are un, and the. The indefinite ones are and un, which means anything. Definite means specific. That's the best way to remember. Articles are used for several things in English, but mainly to introduce nouns. The nouns can be specific or generic. We also use them to refer back to something we've mentioned before, or talk about something that both the speaker and the listener know about. In this exam, you'll be using articles in different ways. Sorry, in the exam. In the letter, you'll be writing about drugs, parts of the body, illnesses, treatments, diagnosis, and other things. So the nouns you use when referring to these things can be singular or they can be plural. For indefinite articles, we can only deal with singular nouns. For definite articles, we can use both plural and singular nouns. So let's look at a breakdown. Indefinite articles are and un, used to introduce singular countable nouns. We'll be looking at countable and uncountable shortly. Countable nouns means we can count them, and the general rule is that un introduces words that begin with a vowel: an egg, an engineer, an intention, an orange, an umbrella. Whereas introduces words which begin with consonants, which are all the other letters. And no, I'm not going to give you an example of each one because it will take a long time. So you can figure that one out. So words in the letter are more likely to be preceded by an indefinite article. Are things like a test, a procedure, a treatment, a drug, a diagnosis, a specialist, a doctor, a nurse, etc. The list is much bigger than this, but here are some examples. There are also phrases and expressions such as a few, a lot of, a history of, a period of, a slight something, an excess of, a lack of, an investigation into, a build-up of. For example, a build-up of fluid on the lungs. So you also have to take these into consideration because they use indefinite articles. Again, there are many more of these, but this example gives you a lot of scope. So this is by no means everything, but it gives you a good idea. Now, next thing, countable and uncountable nouns. These are vital to correct article use. We're not going to give you a full-blown lesson here, but show you the basics of the rules and the definitions. So countable means you can count it. On, 1, 2, 3, a few, a many. We can count things in different ways, but for this, we're only going to look at and on. Examples: a pain, a doctor, a bed, a unit, a visit, an injection. We can count all of those things. 2 pains, 3 doctors, 4 beds, 5 units, we can count them. Then we have uncountable nouns. These cannot be counted. We also know these as what we call mass units, which means if we separate them into one or more parts, they stay the same because they're still the same thing. Examples: blood, advice, cancer, treatment. Treatment can be countable and uncountable. You will see it in the document provided with this video. Inflammation, emotions. When we say emotions, we mean love, like, hate, anger. These things, they're all uncountable. Conditions, people's conditions such as hypertension, indigestion, insomnia. These are all uncountable. And another thing that I always add when I talk about countable and uncountable nouns, this is a very important thing. Even though it's not related to a noun, it's important. Uncountable nouns must always use singular verbs, always. So something is, the blood is, the insomnia is, the indigestion is, the inflammation is. Never use are or have or any other plural verb. The verb must always be singular. Okay, uncountable nouns can use the, but they cannot use a or on. We use both countable and uncountables when there is only one of the things, or when the thing has been previously referred to, or when we refer to a specific thing. Examples: the hospital. In our town, we have one hospital. This has kind of changed over the years because many cities and towns have lots of hospitals, but remember, the language comes from hundreds, even thousands of years ago. This was when usually there was one of something. When you talk about your house, you say the kitchen, the bathroom. Some houses now have 3 or 4 bathrooms, but we still use the same language. So the hospital. Where we refer to something before, the patient needs an emergency operation. We've introduced the operation noun with on. The operation will be performed by our top surgeon. So we're referring back to this operation. So we say the operation. We introduce the noun operation with on, then we talk about the same operation here using the. And then this is when it's something that the speaker and the listener know about. This is also included. Please take Mr. Jones to the ICU immediately. Usually there is only one ICU unit at a facility. If there are more, you have to be specific. Take Mr. Jones to the ICU unit on the 2nd floor or on the 1st floor, wherever it is. So that's how you distinguish it. But if there's only one, you say the. So these are all countable. So here's an example of uncountable. The fluid on Mrs. Jackson's lungs needs to be drained to prevent further damage. Fluid is uncountable, but we can still use the, because we're talking about the fluid on Mrs. Jackson's lungs. We're not talking about any other fluid, specific fluid on her lungs. So we use the. We do have a list of countable and uncountable nouns in our library. You will be supplied with a link to these things below this video. And another point that I feel needs to be included is that use as an adjective issue. From my experience as a teacher, some students become confused when they see an uncountable noun, but it's being used with a or on. This is because the word is no longer being used as a noun. It's being changed to an adjective. So here are some simple examples. A treatment program. We're talking about the program. So program is countable. Treatment is the adjective. A hypertension issue or problem. The hypertension now becomes an adjective. A low blood count. A count. There's our noun, a count. Low blood. Yes, low is part of the adjective, but we're focusing here on the uncountable noun blood. But it becomes an adjective. Nearly all nouns in English can become adjectives if you want them to become an adjective. For example, a book is a noun, but if I want to go to the bookstore, it's a store that sells books. So book changes from a noun to an adjective. That's very common in English. So if you don't know this, and I have had students who get a little confused about this, this should help you. So as you can see, the words are used in different forms. So if you see an uncountable noun, check how it's being used. It may well be used as an adjective describing a noun. Because the noun is countable, we can use a, or we can use on. Now, here's an exercise to help you practice the use of both types of article. Read the sentences and decide if they need an an indefinite or definite article, and where it should be placed in the sentence. Some sentences will not have an article. I haven't written that there because I want you to use your skill. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the first three. So the first one, the operation was success. Success is a noun. Successful is an adjective. So we could say the operation was successful because adjectives are used with the verb to be. But this is a noun, success. And it's a single noun. So we need to have a. The operation was a success. Doctor will be here to see you shortly. Well, we're talking about the doctor who's coming to see you, not any other doctor. So the doctor will be here to see you shortly, meaning the doctor who is attending to you, not another doctor. The third one, he presented complaining of pain in his left foot. Now, pain can be countable or uncountable. In this situation, I would opt for a pain in his left foot because it's one pain and it's in his left foot. When we say to be in pain, that's generally in all over your body. So you can use it as countable, uncountable. Here, I would use it as a countable now. Okay, so there are more of these, so please go through them. There is a link to the answers, both in Word form and PDF form, which you will receive, again, in the description. So practice these things. If you would like any more exercises, if you'd like some exercises and you don't have any, please just either send us an email or make a comment on the video requesting some material, and we'll try and get it to you. You may have to supply your email address or something, but if you want some material and we have it, we'll gladly provide you with it, with more exercises related to articles. Okay, using the material in the link and the exercises, practice becoming more comfortable using articles. You don't have to spend a long time doing this, but you do need to put in a little bit of practice. You need to be comfortable. When you're writing the letter, you don't want to be thinking, oh, do I use a, do I use a, and what do I use? You want it to seem more comfortable because, again, the letter or the exam, you're against the clock. So you need to be able to produce things quickly. and correctly. And as I mentioned before, errors with articles are seen as simple errors which will affect your score in an adverse way, a bad way, negative way. As part of our courses, we provide intensive lessons and guidance in all aspects of grammar related to not only the writing, but all aspects of the exam. Okay, oh, this is the end of this. Oh, I forgot to write lesson, but I think you get the idea. So please visit us for more videos. And if you'd like to have online tuition, please visit our website. You can also book directly at our booking link. This link does not include www. It's linked to our booking system, so you only have to type this, register, and you can pay, and you can book different types of lessons. Have a look at the website, our rates page here, and please subscribe to, like, and comment about these videos. Share them with people to help us grow our channel so we can provide you with more quality tips and lessons. Thank you.